It's nice and
Or you just Kevin Richard says something else. Oh, good. That's excellent. We just flew up from our first PGA event in Utah for 60 years. After we win, we got
that's right.
Black Desert. Gaethje and I played the Pro-Am with Mike Weir.
How did Mike play?
I played well. We played well. We were 15 under.
You're playing better.
I couldn't say that, sir, but I'd like to. Weir's was good. Yeah, I'm on the board.
So you played with Mike Weir?
Well,
that's good. You're on the board of which, senior?
No, for the whole Black Desert.
I heard you just said. I think we're okay, right?
Yeah,
we're good.
You come slay with us after.
I want to do it.
All right, we'll see.
I will. You don't even look tired. I said, I don't have a chance to look tired. He knows what to say. But I want to thank everybody very much. It's an honor to be with you, and Rick has been with me right from the beginning, and Rick Grinnell, and he's been terrific, and Robert, and the whole group of the people at the table, they're friends, real friends, and Mike has been, well, we had a little rough early start, but after that it became great, so it couldn't be better. And Glenn, I've watched Glenn for a long time, and he's one of the few that left and decided to do something else and did well, did even better, and so we appreciate that. I appreciate it very much. So we're here, we have a big crowd. Last night we had a phenomenal situation. I think a lot of you watched in California, Coachella, and we had, I think, 101,000 people, and it was big. Even the owner said, "This is some big crowd," and I didn't have a guitar. You know, usually they have guitars to get those crowds, and they don't get them as big. But we had a great time, and the polls have been very good. I would say, as Len would say, we're trending up quickly. And it's been pretty steep and pretty good, and we're leading. We're leading in depending on which one, but almost all of the swing states. And we're leading in some nationally, and a lot of people say you have to add 5 or 6 because I poll. That's the way I poll. You know, it's always nice when you can sort of be tied or lead 1, and they say, so you're actually 8 up. But we're doing well, and the response, the spirit's stronger than it's ever been. We did great in 2016. We did even better in 2020. I hate to say it, but we got many millions of votes more. You know that better than anybody. But this is blowing both of them out. This is the level of spirit. Mike is stronger now than it's ever been. Rick, would you say? And we've never had anything like it. It's been amazing. The rallies are the biggest we've ever had by far. And then, of course, we had the Butler situation. But there's 2 butlers. We had 2 butlers. We had the one from 2 weeks ago where we had well over 100,000 people come to the middle of Pennsylvania. It was incredible. And then we had the first butler, and that was a big crowd too, but that was interrupted. And again, the spirit, and we lost a great person. Corey was a great person, and we were able to raise a tremendous amount of money for his family, which is great. And 2 other people were not expected to make it, and they had tremendous doctors in Pennsylvania, local doctors, country doctors that were really, they were amazing. They did a great job. They saved them. Both of them are living, and they're going to be fine, still recovering, but they're going to be fine. And 2 very great people, actually, all very much into the MAGA movement, the greatest movement that there's ever been in this country by far. There's never been you just have to look outside and see the kind of audience you have. We could have sold that thing out 4 times, and it's pretty big. You got many thousands of people, but we could have sold it out many times. I would say, Rick, in almost every case we can sell it out many times. We had 2 months ago, we were in the Nassau Coliseum, which is essentially the size of Madison Square Garden, the big arena. And we had that packed, and we could have sold that one out a couple of more times. So it's been interesting. We just signed Madison Square Garden. We'll do Madison Square Garden. I would think it's a very big venue. It's the same size as Nassau Coliseum, actually, though. And we've already got thousands, tens of thousands of requests. We're trying to get the arena in Pennsylvania and a couple of others arena, including Atlanta. We think we're going to get the arena in Atlanta. And it seems to work well with us. You have to be able to fill them, and we seem to fill them very fast. Literally within hours, they're sold out. So there's something happening, and it's great. And for the people with Latter-day Saints, and I will say that I think I'm at 88% in terms of level of popularity, or whatever you want to call it. And some of the basic things, if you talk about Constitution is hanging by a thread, and it is. Our Constitution is hanging by a thread, and we can't let that happen. And they come up with all sorts of nonsense with, I'm a threat. They're a threat to democracy. They are a serious threat in two ways. Number one, they're grossly incompetent. And number two, they're just a threat. What they do is incredible with the weaponization of government. There's never been anything like it. And this is a situation that's, I think I've handled it well, because we've actually gone up. I don't think, Glenn, I'd be as high as I am right now if it wasn't. The people have rejected them. And just like they rejected Joe Biden, who had 14 million votes. I'm not a fan of his, but he had 14 million votes. All of a sudden, we're running against somebody else. You would have said?
I was going to say also the Supreme Court has just rejected.
The Supreme Court has been very brave and very brilliant, and Glenn's just saying the Supreme Court rejected them. And you know, there is a new phenomenon. These are vicious people, and they play the ref, and they do it with judges all the time. I see it all the time. They'll take a brilliant judge and they'll go after them. They'll mock them. They'll scorn them. They'll say they move too slowly and this and that. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I don't even know if that's really legal if you think about it, but they go after them in a concerted way, and they go after Supreme Court justices. They went after the judge in Florida, who's brilliant, who, by the way, is brilliant and does move quickly and did move quickly. And they went after her in such a vicious way. What they do is they demean and they mock. And even if it has nothing to do with the fact, which it generally doesn't, very rarely does it, and there has to be a law against it, but they do it with the Supreme Court justices. And I think they have been so brave and brilliant and brave, and not necessarily just the ones I put on. You know, we had 6 votes. We even had 9 votes in one case. We had 9 votes on the Colorado decision where they wanted to take me off the ballot. They had no reason for doing it, but they wanted to try and take me off the ballot. And that was caused by the governor of Colorado, who's a radical left lunatic. But he was rejected even by the other 3. I mean, it was a terrible thing that they did, because if that would have happened, then we would have had a whole different system. But it was a 9-0 vote. So we have to be careful with that. The family is the foundation of the really successful and prosperous society. I think it's important to know that. And I wrote just a couple of things down, and I'm looking at that, and I'm comparing it to what the Latter-day Saints think. And liberty, we want our peace, we want our wives' and children's futures, we want our freedom to worship. I mean, the things that people should want, everybody should want. These are staples for the Latter-day Saints, but everybody should want. We are polling very good with LDS. We're polling very, very well. If we get another point, or so, I think we're probably going to win easily. We're going to win Arizona. We're going to win Nevada, the 2 states we're talking about. In Utah, we're doing great. We're way up, like 25, 30 points, something like that. We should be in good shape. I don't want to talk about it too much. We should be in good shape. You have a very good governor. The governor and I really have developed a very good relationship, doing a very good job. But if we win Arizona, and if we win Nevada, and we have a very good governor there too, we're very, very, very committed. We're going to have if we could pick up an extra point or 2 points, and the Latter-day Saints are going to have a lot to do with it. So if we can get the numbers up, and I want to thank you, fellas. The job you've done is fantastic. But if we can get those numbers up, 2 points, you were telling me, right? It makes us pretty much unbeatable in those 2 states, and that's why we're here. And then I'm also here to make a little bit of a speech, and I hope you're going to come out and listen. And we've been having a very good time. Somebody said, you enjoy doing it? I said, I don't know why, but I do. And the reason I do is there's a lot of love in the room. Look at the arms in this guy. I'm not going to fight with him. I'm not fighting with that guy. Anyway, thank you very much for being here, fellas. Look at these guys. But if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.